22nd, 27-23. An interception against Tom Porras, a key aspect of the game. And we are underway for the third time this season, the Bombers and the Argos. And this is Lorenzo Rivers with a kickoff return across the 45, has the ball ripped out of his arms, and the Bombers have recovered.
First thing Don Matthews said, Bob, was that don't get in a position where you turn the ball over in your own end, because if you do, it's going to put you in a bad spot early in the football game. Give the other team an opportunity that you don't make them earn by moving the ball down the field.
A 32-yard return, and it was Les Brown who went after the ball with his left hand and was able to punch it out. And the Bombers, who lead the CFL in takeaways, have it at the Argo 45. Burgess throws for Lee Hall, complete at the 27-yard line.
Burgess got good protection from his offensive line that time, allowing him to throw that ball a little bit deeper. The thing that impresses me about Burgess, as we mentioned earlier, he really seems to be a lot more patient right now, letting things develop, taking what is given to him rather than trying to force the ball somewhere where it shouldn't be going.
Look at those numbers, Nick. He's thrown 7 touchdown passes and no interceptions in the last 2 games. Bombers first and 10 at the Argo 27-yard line, trying to cash in a turnover on the opening play of the game. Burgess all alone, and a touchdown, Robert Mims.
Well, one thing that's underrated about Robert Mims is that he is a tremendous receiver. They had 4 receivers to that side. Obviously, the Argos were confused. They didn't have enough people over there to cover. Mims is wide open, and he has 50 receptions going into this game, Bob. And last year, they were using him as a slot back because he's got such good hands.
The worst possible start, obviously, for the Argos, and the best possible for Winnipeg. 2 plays after the turnover, the Bombers put it in the end zone. Robert Mims scoring his 6th touchdown.
Good pressure on Tom Burgess, but he's looking to that side, and immediately he knows where his read is going to be. And again, they got a little bit lucky perhaps that the Argos were confused by having Mims running free down the field, not enough people in coverage.
20th touchdown pass of the year for Burgess. He also has thrown 20 interceptions as he continues on a roll. You know, all teams try to isolate running backs out there on a linebacker if they can, Nick, but that time the Bombers isolated Mims on nobody. We would have to assume the Argos blew an assignment somewhere.
Well, certainly, because you saw the picture, there virtually wasn't a white shirt around him. And I guarantee you they'll make that adjustment on the Argos sideline and have that covered next time.
Kennard kicks off for the 2nd time in the game, and Lorenzo Rivers has it again at the 17. He is fast, but he's cut down at the 34 by Ken Haley. Well, it started the system moving in from the north that could bring some snow, and the wind is expected to increase in velocity as the game goes on. In this quarter, the Argos are moving into the wind. Ricky Foggy, who has been even hotter than Tom Burgess, having some trouble getting this play underway with the noise, and he did not get it off in time.
I guess it's a combination of the noise, Bob, and the other thing, maybe a pretty strong wind blowing into his face.
Toronto number 14, still first down.
Don Matthews, the coach of the Argos, looks on as Ricky Foggy will try again. Let's listen to the noise factor and see what Foggy's up against. They get this play off, and the handoff goes on the left side to Clemens, but he is tackled very quickly. He may have gained 2 yards out to the Argo 31-yard line.
I think the big problem that the Argo offense presents to any defense is that they move their people around and they try to get you to overload one side of the field or the other with personnel and leave yourself short on the other side of the field. When you play them, you must be very balanced in moving your people around so you don't leave yourself exposed.
Foggy calling the play in the no-huddle offense. 2nd down and 13 from the 31. Drops in the pocket. A flag comes down, and Foggy is sacked. Albert Williams leading the way.
That controlled pass rush, Bob, gives the quarterback a little bit more time to make the read. But one thing it doesn't do is it, at times, doesn't really give him any lanes to run into because they're trying to fill all the gaps with somebody.
Toronto number 58.
See that right here? Up front, they're mixing their personnel. They're changing the rush lanes to create some confusion. But Albert Williams plays it just perfectly. His responsibility coming from the outside up to the middle is to head up Ricky Foggy so that if he makes this move, he's right there to put the clamps on him.
Third down for the Argos. A long way to go. A big rush on Harper, but he gets the kick away into the wind, and it's a short one. It hits an Argo player. Grabbed by the Bombers at the Toronto 40, and Winnipeg will have outstanding field position for their second possession of the game, and they already have a 7-0 lead just 2.5 minutes into the game. Winnipeg Blue Bombers have the football for the second time in the game. The first time they got it at the Argo 45 and scored a touchdown in 2 plays. Now they have it at the 29 after a Harper punt and a no yards penalty, a 17-yard net punt. And so the Blue Bombers are in a great position to expand their lead, and we're only 2.5 minutes into the game. Burgess, though, is sacked. Argos needed that. Harold Holman got through to put Burgess down back at the Toronto 37-yard line.
Well, that's Harold Holman's 9th sack of the year. And he, along with Rodney Hardy at Mike Riley Fields, are probably 2 of the best players on that team. And one thing that he does extremely well, that's Holman, is that he'll take a side on an offensive lineman and get upfield and get on your shoulder before you can react to get in front of him.
Second down for the Blue Bombers from the Argo 37. And they have close to 20 yards to go. Burgess back, sprints to his left, was going to throw, didn't like what he saw, and now he'll run and he'll go out of bounds at the Toronto 35-yard line for a gain of a couple. But that will take some of the early momentum away that Winnipeg has built, Nick. And when you're playing on the road in a game of this import, I think it's very important for a team, Toronto in this case, to not get in the hole they're digging for themselves at this situation.
I agree, Bob, and especially when you've got this type of weather that it's going to be maybe a lousy night, a wet, wind blowing, that type of thing. You don't want to be giving up a lot of good field position, and you hope to escape the corners where you don't have the wind without giving up any points.
Argos got some strong work from their defense. Trevor Kennard will try a 42-yard field goal, and it is good. And the Blue Bombers have jumped in front 10-0, but when you turn it over on your 29-yard line after a punt, as Toronto did, you'll settle for the other team getting only a field goal. Foggy can get some action going with the Toronto offense.
Well, one thing about Ricky Foggy that I really like is he seems to typify that whole team, the Argos. Very relaxed, very calm, having a lot of fun out there. And when you talk to the Argos, right from their coach down, they seem to be really enjoying themselves right now.
Foggy back to pass. He'll sprint out, and he'll throw, and it's complete to Mazzotti up at the 51-yard line. Jeff Boyd, not Mazzotti. And that's a first down for the Argos. Ricky Foggy, quarterback the BC Lions, July 27th against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and helped them to victory over Winnipeg, a 1-point win at BC Place Stadium. And I think everybody's familiar with the story by now of how the Argos took Foggy off the BC practice roster. This is his 7th game as an Argo, and he has performed beyond expectations. 1st and 10 at the Toronto 51. Foggy fakes. Tyrone Jones has him.
You see Ricky Foggy, in other words, he sets up very quickly here, wanted to get that quick hot throw off, saw that the man was covered and trying to roll in the opposite direction. But Tyrone Jones just did an excellent job of not allowing Ricky Foggy to get any deeper and escape her outside of him, because once he was outside of Tyrone, he had a lot of room to run.
Second down and 19, Argos at their 42. Foggy in the pocket with time. Now he'll try to run up the field and gets across the 45 to the 47 for a gain of 5, but not nearly what he had to get for the first down.
I guess it's damage control, Bob. All you're worried about, if you can keep Foggy in the pocket, make him throw from the pocket, it's less scary than having him around out there, creating some things for his offensive teammates.
Major concern for Bomber head coach Mike Riley was the running ability of Ricky Foggy. Controlling that, he called his team's #1 priority. And in 2 Toronto offensive possessions, the Bombers have done a good job. Third down, and it's a fake. You never know with the Argos. This is Nastasiuk around the left side. He has the first down and then some to the Bomber 34-yard line. That's called on-the-edge football, and nobody plays it better than the Argos. You're watching Molson Canadian football. Bombers napping, Nick.
Well, they did, and the interesting thing is, all week the Blue Bombers been saying, look, they might try something different. Keep your head up. Just think when you got everything covered, they come up with something new.
Well, if there's any team you'd expect it from, it's Toronto, and it worked. 29-yard run by Nastasiuk. Here's Foggy on the quarterback draw, and he has room to the 20 and down to the 19-yard line. Dave Bobel made the tackle on Ricky Foggy, who says, I think run first, I think pass second.
Yeah, he said, if I'd had 400 yards of offense, I'd like to run for 300 of it. Again, a design play. What he's trying to do there is spreads all his people out, gets that defense spread out, and he hopes that those linebackers are right out of the middle. If he gets past the line of scrimmage, then he's gone for a nice gainer.
Argos down 10-0, but they're looking intent on doing something about that from the Winnipeg 19. Foggy fakes a pass and gives it to Mike Clemens. He's to the 15 and inside of about the 13 of the Blue Bombers. Greg Battle and Tyrone Jones made the stop on Pinball Clemens, who leads the CFL in total all-round, all-purpose yardage, 2,374 yards.
Once again, you try to find innovative ways to get the ball in his hands. That's that old Statue of Liberty play where he'll fake the throw, just turn around and hand it to Clemens, who's coming around from the right, going to the left.
Mikolas, Gray, and Quincy Williams, the 3 down linemen on the Bomber front, 4 linebackers. Second down and 5, Argos from the 14. Foggy, lots of time, loops it into the end zone, and it's no good. Jeff Boyd, the former Bomber, the intended receiver.
It appeared that time that Jeff Boyd was being double covered, and I don't think in this particular situation that going deep like that may necessarily help the Argos. I think the thing that they've had a lot of success with is moving side to side, those little short type of gains down in the score zone, and I think trying to go for it all in one shot is not necessarily what they're best at doing.
Lance Chomik lined up for and kicked a 21-yard field goal, and the Argos have scored as they averaging 40 points a game this season. The Argos just got their first 3 of the night here at Winnipeg Stadium, and the kickoff by Chomik hit a Blue Bomber and bounced right back into the arms of Lance Chomik. Toronto football at the Argo 45-yard line, and that was a strange one. I'm not sure I've ever seen one quite like that before.
I don't know whether necessarily he's trying to do this on purpose. That the linemen up front are told on the Bombers that if that ball's going along the ground, just try to get out of the way so it gets back there and somebody's handling that knows how to handle the football. He may not be able to do that again if he tried, but big break for the Argos. Good for them.
Faciano really had no chance to get out of the way on the low line drive kick, and the Argos have it again. Foggy throws for Boyd, and it's complete at the Blue Bomber 53-yard line. That'll be a 12-yard gain. Ricky Foggy to the former Blue Bomber Jeff Boyd, who was cut at the start of the season, beaten out of his job. Then some injuries brought him back, and he's had a very good year.
He has, Bob, and he's had 775 yards going into this game, but it's been a very quiet 775 yards, not splashy.
Argos from the Winnipeg 53. Foggy rolls and throws to Darrell Smith, his first catch of the game, and he has a gain of 4 yards. Ricky Foggy works in the backfield with Mike Clemens and Canadian rookie Kevin Smelly. The receiving core with Boyd and Mazzotti wide, and Darrell Smith, what a huge year he's having with 16 touchdowns receiving, and a veteran all-Canadian offensive line with Ian Beckstead at center. Second down and 7. Argos at the Winnipeg 50. Foggy with time, the pass deflected and intercepted by the Blue Bombers.
If you can't get to the quarterback, more than anything, try to collapse the pocket in on him. In other words, push your man back. When you see the quarterback cock his arm to throw, get your hands up. You might knock it down. And you would think, you know, Ricky Foggy, I mean, he's a pretty tall guy. He's 6'2", 6'3". With that good overhand motion, he should have been able to get that over the D-line.
A hit screen intended for Mims on first down, but the ball bounced before it got to him. The Blue Bombers lead the CFL, as I said earlier, in forcing turnovers. Ty Jones with the interception, his 4th of the year. And that's 77 takeaways on the season for Winnipeg now, counting the 2 tonight. They are plus 29 in that takeaway giveaway category, and they have a shot at the CFL records for interceptions and fumble recoveries in a season. 2nd and 10 Bombers at their 53. There's a draw play and a fumble by Robert Mims. And who got the ball? Warren Hudson fighting for it, but the Argos have it at center field.
At this point, Bob, you wonder really what hasn't happened. I mean, there's been turnovers back and forth. And fortunately for the Bombers, I guess it's kind of in the middle of the field. But I think it's the rain right now, having a wet ball out there. And that's important if you get a dry football to get the handle on it. It just never does get the handle, and the Argos are right there. And this is another big break for them.
At center field, the Argos, after turning it over, get it right back. Ricky Foggy, Statue of Liberty look. He'll sprint to his right. He has room. Gets away from the first Bomber around the corner and has a first downer very close to it, to the Winnipeg 45-yard line. And we saw his running talents perfectly that time.
That's exactly it, Bob. What a great athlete. Again, he fakes the little Statue of Liberty, takes off, and a lot of times with his capabilities and the way he spread out the defense, you're not going to get gang tackling opportunities against the Argos. You're going to get one-on-one shots, and if you do, you better make them. If not, they're going to kill you.
Ran for over 100 yards last week against Hamilton. Foggy again, and this time he gives it to Michael Clemens. He gets away from Tyrone Jones, and it's to the Winnipeg 40. The ball comes out, and they're rolling a fumble and a Winnipeg recovery.
Paul Mazzotti and Les Brown scrapping around out there. I don't know what the coaches are going to tell these guys. When you're getting in traffic, more than anything, perhaps you just better put 2 arms over the ball. And they're really working this Statue of Liberty type of play a lot early in the first half and having a lot of success with it.
Well, that's 5 turnovers by my count, 3 by the Argos, 2 by the Blue Bombers. Les Brown, who leads the CFL, have the ball back at their 37. The toss to Robert Mims, and he finds good room up to the 45, a gain of 8. Mims was held to 20 yards on 16 carries against Edmonton last week. Despite that, the Bombers won 48-25 over the Eskimos. Mims having an outstanding year, closing in on 1,000 yards rushing. He works with ex-Argo Warren Hudson out of the backfield. Tom Burgess has started every game at quarterback this season. Streeter and Hall out wide. James Murphy still hurt. And the offensive line that has given up the fewest sacks in the CFL. 2nd and 2 Bombers at their 45. This is Mims breaking the first tackle and getting close to the 47, but I think a little bit short of a first down, and Mike Riley will have a decision to make with 4:05 left in the opening quarter.
Saw Carl Braisley blitz that time and got some penetration in the backfield to help stop that play. And I think the Argos are really concerned about the running of Mims. And they figure if they can stop him, they're going to have a terrific chance to win this football game.
Well, it's 3rd down and a yard. Blue Bombers at their 46.5-yard line. Tell you the confidence Winnipeg has in its offense these days. They will go for it. Burgess keeps. He needed to get close to the 48-yard line and did get close. We'll find out if he got close enough. A little forward thrust that he normally would on that quarterback sneak. And did he get enough for the first down? Half the length of the football enough, and the Bombers will hang on to the football. Well, the Toronto Argonaut defense has played well in recent weeks and hasn't received a lot of notoriety, with the offense scoring all the points. The front 4, Quick Parker anchoring it, and Harold Hallman inside. The linebacking core gains one of the top tacklers in the league. Van Belleham and Munford will alternate at the safety position. Burgess on first down throws to Rick House. And then he is really ganged up on after a gain of 2 or 3 to the Winnipeg 52-yard line.
That was an excellent job by Carl Brazier that time. Chris Gaines also had excellent pursuit on that play. And he started off slowly this year being a second-year player, but he's really improved. He's really started to solidify that linebacking core. He's second in the CFL with 83 tackles coming into this game, so you know he's playing well.
Bruce Holmes of Ottawa, the leader, with 93. Gaines also has 5 interceptions. Second down and 6, Blue Bombers at their 52-yard line. And the pass is complete to Rick House at the Argo 51-yard line, and that'll give Winnipeg another first down. 2:33 left in the first quarter. It's 10-3. The Blue Bombers leading Toronto.
Ed Berry that time tried to come up on Rick House and actually slipped on that field and allowing House to catch the ball and go out of bounds.
Well, the Bombers can clinch first place in the East if they can sweep this back-to-back series with the Argos. Toronto can clinch a playoff spot in the East if they win this game tonight. Winnipeg wrapped one up with their victory over Edmonton last week. Both clubs 7-11 last year. Nick?
Well, it hasn't, especially in the case of the Argos. It's a totally different team in a lot of respects from last year.
Winnipeg with much the same club, but playing a lot better. Here's Mims with a huge opening inside the 30 to the Argo 27.
Well, when you're in a bad weather such as this, where the ball is slippery and the footing is not as good as it can be, a drop play is really an excellent type of play to run, because you've got those linebackers backing up, and it's very difficult for them to turn quickly on this wet field. And you see Harold Hallman on the nose. It's really his job to try and make that play. It's difficult, though, when you take a side, you take yourself right out of the play.
29-yard run by Robert Mims. Burgess into the end zone. Rick House. And it's no good. And there will be an interference call as House was pulled down.
I think it was a pretty good call by the referee that time, Bob.
Well, the cornerback on that side, or the halfback, I think it was Brazeley, looked like he reached out and grabbed House by the shoulder and tugged him down just as the ball got there.
Forward pass interference. Shot on number 7 in the end zone. First down.
Well, into the short field. The Argos like to keep Brazeley on the short field because he only has to work that one same technique every time. But Rick House made an excellent move to get past him, and Brazeley had to pull him down to make the play.
And over the right side, and the Bombers have a touchdown. Warren Hudson.
As we said, one of the Argos' big concern was the running of Robert Mims, and we saw the Eskimos did an effective job last week, but he is a good running back, and it's going to be difficult for a guy like that to keep him in check 2 weeks in a row. Especially, I think, the mandate given to the offensive line was, let's make this running game go a little bit better.
Well, there's some early movement there, and Steve Rhoda Huskers got sent reeling as a result of it. There really is no love lost between these clubs, and you know, that's a cliche you hear between football teams, but when you hear the players talk about it, there's animosity, and it's real.
Well, it is, and it started the day that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers joined the Eastern Division.
1987.
Offside. Shot on number 40. The penalty will be applied on the kickoff.
And the feeling with the Toronto Argonauts at the time was that the Blue Bombers think they're going to come into our division and just run away with it. And it was a very heated rivalry that year and every year since.
You would know about it. You were involved in it, Nick. There's the convert by Kennard. And with 1:29 left in the first quarter on a touchdown by ex-Argo Warren Hudson, Winnipeg has to
keep them off the quarterback.
Trevor Kennard kicks off. Lorenzo Rivers from his 10-yard line. Greg Battle runs him down at about the 28-yard line of the Argos. Well, Don Matthews' team has won 5 games in a row, but he agreed that this game tonight was the biggest test for his Argos and for Ricky Foggy.
Yeah, it's going to be tough with the Bombers because they play great defense, and I think the key for us tonight is not to turn the ball over I think the scoring of points that you've seen lately is not really an accurate portrayal of how our football team is. We hit a couple of teams that were having a little bit of turmoil, but right now this is a pretty solid football team, and our work is really cut out for us.
18-yard return by Rivers. Don't turn the ball over, says Matthews. Well, the Argos have done that 3 times already in the first quarter. Foggy throws for Darrell Smith, and the pass a little bit low out at the Argo 44-yard line. Ricky Foggy has just been brilliant since he came to Toronto, and Darrell Smith hasn't been bad all season either.
No, he hasn't. He's one of those players, I think, that really felt from last year that I have to make amends and just have a better year. Seems to be playing with a lot more confidence, and every ball that's thrown in his area, he's got that confidence that that ball is mine, I can make that catch.
Coming into this game, 75 receptions for 1,409 yards and 16 touchdowns. Darrell Smith, 2nd and 10, Argos at their 28. Tyrone Jones is after Foggy, but he completes it to Jeff Boyd up at the 34. The Bombers stop him quickly. Rod Hill with the tackle, Albert Williams helping out, and the Argos are 4 or 5 yards away from getting a first down.
Well, I think as long as Ricky Foggy keeps that rolling out type of thing and getting his receivers to run those out patterns, he's going to be very difficult to stop. And if he stands in the pocket and maybe tries to force that ball deep down over the middle, as you saw when they were in the end zone, that's really not his game. Moving around is what he does best.
Well, we get another fake from the Argos on this punt. 3rd down and 5, probably not from their 34-yard line. Last time they direct snapped it to Nastasia, and he ran 29 yards for a first down. Good kick by Harper. Flags are down. Lee Hull at the Winnipeg 33, and back to the 42 or 43-yard line. A penalty flag. Now it was 3rd and 5 or thereabouts for Toronto, so if it's against Winnipeg, the Argos may hold on to the ball, but it's against Toronto. 42-yard kick by Harper, and the return was 10 yards by Lee Hull. Bombers will make the Argos punt again. Remember, Harper's kicking into the wind, and he got a terrific kick off.
Shot on number 17. 3rd down repeated.
They'll gamble that he can't do it again.
Well, the other thing, too, is the wind is gusting, Bob. So when the punter's standing back there, he doesn't call for the ball till he feels that wind die, because he wants the best punt possible, and if it's gusting, he may catch it at the wrong moment and get a terrible kick.
Glenn Harper with the 4th best average in the CFL, 40.9 yards. And barring a penalty, this will be the final play of the opening quarter. Harper gets another good kick away, but the Bombers will wind up with better field position. Hull at the 47 and up to the Winnipeg 53-yard line. So Winnipeg will have for good field position to start the second quarter. It was 17-3, and the quarter ended with a 39-yard punt by Harper and a 6-yard return by Lee Hull. So the Bombers are 1st and 10 at their 53.5-yard line. Tom Burgess sends Hull wide left, Streeter to the right. And Burgess hands the ball off to Robert Mims, who's across center field and into the Toronto 53-yard line for a gain of 3 or 4.
See Warren Hudson in your picture there. That 1-yard touchdown run of his just typifies or exemplifies his value to the team. A big, strong guy like that from 1 yard out, you should never really be able to stop him.
Played for the Oshawa Juniors, a Scarborough native. And the Bombers are thrilled to have him. 2nd and 7, Winnipeg. Burgess throws and completes it to Tuttle at the 40. Brazeley brings him down at the Toronto 38-yard line.
Probably a very simple thing that most teams do is that they like to run their wide receivers down the field to clear out an area, and then they'll run their slots in behind it, dragging across, and it puts the defender at a disadvantage because, of course, he doesn't know where the receiver's going.
Terry Tuttle, 31 years of age, missed a few games with injury this year, not having the kind of year he would normally have, but he is a game breaker. Burgess sprints right on 1st down and throws. Streeter makes an outstanding diving catch at the Argo 30.
And Barry standing there, hands on hips, looking at the referees. I don't believe he caught that, but it really was an excellent reception by Eric Streeter. Good concentration. And Burgess, I think, does a better job of throwing on the run, getting a little more power behind that throw than he does throwing from the pocket.
Streeter has scored 8 touchdowns this year. Burgess against Edmonton last week, 27 out of 42 for 291 yards and 4 touchdowns. And he's been very sharp so far in this game. From the 20, 1st and 10. Into the end zone, Burgess, and it's intercepted. The Argos have picked it off. Chris Munford with the ball. And the Winnipeg drive is snuffed out by a big Toronto defensive play. Munford's 2nd interception of the year.
Well, perhaps they went once to the well too often. Carl Brazeley does an excellent job of coverage here. It looks like they're almost attached by Velcro. You see Chris Munford, he doesn't do anything more than just stand there, just wait for that ball to come, and he plays center field and makes the pick.
Well, they're now even on turnovers. That's 3 each tonight. Chris Munford, and Simon Fraser, and aren't a lot of players in the CFL. We're going to talk about that at halftime. Ricky Foggy throws downfield, but it's way behind the intended receiver, who looked to be Lorenzo Rivers. Foggy in his last 2 games, 10 touchdown passes, and Burgess in his last 2, 7. And this is the first interception Burgess has thrown in 3 games.
Well, one thing that they are doing is he's being a little more patient. Again, take what the defense gives you. When you do that, you might force them to change their defense. Now you're dictating the pace and the tone of the game.
Ricky Foggy in the Argos, 2nd and 10 from their 25. Foggy pulls it down. Bombers are giving chase. They have good team speed on defense. Foggy gets away from a couple more. He gets away from Randolph. He's up to the 30 and down at the 33 of Toronto. He ran 1,000,000 miles to gain 8 yards and come up just short of a 1st down.
Greg Battle is talking to himself. Listen, don't try that kind of stuff against us. But I think Greg Battle better beware, because this guy really is a game breaker all by himself. He was looking for Darrell Smith over the middle, who was well covered. And then he's doing here, improvising. Again, a great athlete can do that. And he's not afraid to really get as many yards as he needed. He didn't try to head for the sidelines. He took it straight up the field, try to hurdle a guy.
Hit pretty hard out of bounds, as it turned out, too, by Les Brown. Here's Glenn Harper to punt with the wind this time. If, in fact, he punts, it's 3rd down and just over 2. Argos from their 33. Harper does punt, and he does it very well. Eric Streeter at the Winnipeg 26. And he's up to the 35-yard line, a 51-yard punt. At Winnipeg Stadium, the Toronto Argos getting set to play some defense. Browner, Harding, Holman, Parker, the people up front. Toronto with 3 points, which is about the norm against Winnipeg in the 1st quarter. The Bombers have only allowed 38 points in 1st quarters this season. Burgess tries to pass, and Don Moen is there to knock it down.
I think it's critical, at least from the Bombers' perspective, it's critical that they don't turn the ball over here against the wind, because the Argos are being as explosive as they are. And I know that Don Matthews can't be happy with what's happened to his team in this 1st quarter, but they're pretty good with the patience department. He says, we got lots of game left, and we'll come back.
2nd and 10, Burgess and the Bombers from their 20. Here's a draw play to Robert Mims, and the Argos have that one read, and Mims will lose a couple of yards. Good defense by Toronto. Chris Gaines made the stop. Well, the thing that scares Mike Riley the most, kicking into the wind against Toronto, is something that happened last year here at Winnipeg Stadium. We look at it now. Bob Cameron punted into the wind, and Mike Pinball Clemens scooped it up and just kind of strolled into the end zone.
Well, he did, Bob, and the worst part about that, as you're covering the kick, you're backing up because the ball's bouncing back due to the wind, and you can't even turn around quick enough. He's by you.
Cameron, considered by everybody in the CFL as the best wind kicker in the game. Good snap, and the wind really grabs it, and it goes out of bounds. I don't know, they'll mark it out around the Bomber 35, maybe closer to the 30-yard line, but at least Clemens didn't get his hands on it from Winnipeg's point of view.
It almost seemed like a case of deja vu there at some point.
Had a lot of similarities to that play last year, but Cameron was able to get it out of bounds. 17-yard punt.
He may have been trying to punt to the sidelines, and again, remembering what happened to them last year. But anytime you tell a kicker to try to kick it to one side or the other, it may go off the side of his foot.
Well, when you try to kick it to the sidelines into the wind, you're not going to get much distance. Argos, great field position. Winnipeg, 35-yard line. And the fans get into it again. Foggy, pass tipped, but Clemens makes the catch and is into the Winnipeg 27-yard line. Paul Randolph made the stop. Mike Clemens gives Toronto an 8-yard gain.
A lot of pressure on Paul Randolph here because this is the kind of matchup that the Argos are looking for. Spread them out, get a very shifty running back one-on-one with the linebacker. Again, if Randolph doesn't make the play, it could be a very big gain.
Clemens with 56 catches on the year coming into tonight. 2nd down and 2, Toronto at the Winnipeg 27-yard line. Foggy fakes and then tosses to Clemens, puts his head down and drives across the 25 to the 23. And if you don't think this little man at 175 pounds has any power, think again.
I was very impressed with that, Bob, because I didn't think a guy at 5'6", you said 170 pounds, is going to take on those big linebackers. He figured, I'm going to split those two guys. I'm going to get what we need.
He says he's closer to 5'7", Nick.
All right.
But we he's not real big. But that was a big run by Clemens. Argos at the Winnipeg 22, 1st and 10. Bombers lead 17-3. Flag comes down as Foggy throws into the end zone. And it's tipped in the air and falls incomplete. But there was a penalty flag down. One side moved early.
You know, one thing, Bob, that this Argo no-huddle offense does for them is it allows Ricky Foggy to get up on the ball right away to see what kind of defense the Blue Bombers are going to present to them. And if he doesn't like what he sees, he's got plenty of time to change it.
Winnipeg number 36. Repeat, 1st down.
Paul Randolph was offside for the Blue Bombers, who are at the top of the CFL penalty list. And that gives the Argos 1st down and 5 from the Winnipeg 17-yard line. Foggy to Clemens. Room off the right side down to the Bomber 11. That's a Toronto 1st down. 8:45 left, 2nd quarter. Argos prepared to take a bite into Winnipeg's lead.
The amazing thing with Mike Clemens is as much work as he's been getting this year, he says, I feel great. I feel fresh. It's later on in the season. You'd think he'd be starting to get worn down a bit. He said, no, I'm ready to go. I want the ball.
He missed 2 games earlier, but the amount of time he handles the ball in a game, he is very durable. Here's Foggy sprinting left. Tyrone Jones forces a fumble. Quincy Williams recovers, and the Blue Bombers have forced their 4th turnover of the game. Molson and CFN proud to bring you the best of Canadian football. Of the game on a wet night at Winnipeg Stadium, and the Blue Bombers enforcing Toronto's 4th turnover of the game, prevent the Argos from cutting into the Bombers' 14-point lead. And from the 20, the handoff to Robert Mims. Nice run to the 33 and a 13-yard gain.
Well, Bob, you're talking about team speed, and it's extremely important if you're running a 3-4 defense with 4 linebackers that you have great speed in your linebackers. Now, Tyrone Jones does not have contain here. The contain has been broken, but he's quick enough over a short distance to get to Ricky Foggy and cause a fumble.
Quincy Williams recovered that fumble, but the Bombers felt confident about their abilities to contain Foggy because of the team speed that they have, and Unford carried off the field. That'll bring rookie Dave Van Bellingham into play. Safety. The Blue Bombers 1st and 10 at their 33. 7.5 minutes left, 2nd quarter. Burgess throws, completes the big Warren Hudson, and he gets it out to the Winnipeg 45 for another 1st down.
Warren Hudson had 36 receptions coming into this game, and he had rushed the ball 36 times. So he's really splitting his workload between the rush and the pass.
And Tom Burgess doing another good job tonight of picking away, as he did against Edmonton last week, Saskatchewan the week before. From the 45, the Bombers 1st and 10. Burgess gives it to Mims. Robert Mims, no room on the left side, so he heads back the other way and picks up 8 yards. And he now has 62 on the night and needs 9 more to crack the 1,000-yard barrier for the season.
Well, we said it before, Bob. His forte is cutback running. He tries to run to the left. Keith Browner, number 57, does an excellent job of the Argos of turning this play back inside. Now, it's really important for the backside of that Argo defense to collapse in and make the play when you have the opportunity.
Second down, Blue Bombers, a long 2 from their 53-yard line. Handoff Robert Mims across center field to the Argo 54, and that's very close to a Winnipeg first down.
See how all the good running backs turn their body when they have an opportunity to get through the line. Makes a smaller target to hit. You don't take as much punishment, and you can protect the ball a little better.
CFL rookie from Kansas, Robert Mims. And there's his rushing yardage on the season, 994, including tonight, of course. Big lead on Ottawa's Reggie Barnes. 6 more yards, and Mims has 1,000 from the 54. Mims carries again, and he has the 6 that he needs to crack the 1,000-yard barrier. Robert Mims, the first Bomber to rush for 1,000 since Willard Reeves in 1987.
Well, it's got to be exciting for this young man, because coming into the season, he was like everyone else at training camp. Am I even going to make this team? He was really the 3rd man on their depth chart behind Blake and Tim Jesse.
And he's bounced around in professional ball for the last 3 or 4 years. Just thrilled to be playing here in Winnipeg, producing. Mims on 2nd and 3 carries again, but this time there's very little room. He may have gained a yard. Chris Gaines, we saw, the Argo middle linebacker, having some problems physically.
On a cold night, Bob, every hit seems to be amplified, and you seem to feel them a lot more right in your bones.
You see, Robert Mims has had no shortage of work this year. 208 carries. Now he's over the 1,000 mark, 1,001. Chris Munford, we're told, has a broken ankle. Third down and 2. Blue Bombers at the Argo 46-yard line. 4.5 minutes left, first half. Winnipeg in front 70-3, 17-3. Bob Cameron, good kick this time into the wind. Mike Clemens lets it bounce because it was playing tricks on him. Picks it up at the 3-yard line. Look out for the pinball. He gets it back out to the 13. 43-yard kick. And fairly even since then. We have 4:10 left in the first half at Winnipeg Stadium. And the Argos from their 13, 1st and 10. Ricky Foggy wants to go long and does, but Jeff Boyd can't catch up to it at the Argo 50. Thought for a minute maybe he pulled something because he seemed to go down in a bit of a heap, but he's okay as he trots back to the huddle, and Ricky Foggy will look at a 2nd and 10.
Not a bad play. If you're going to throw that type of a pass deep in your own end, make sure that it's way out in front, because if your guy doesn't get it, no one gets it.
Talk about Foggy becoming the third quarterback in CFL history to have back-to-back 100-yard rushing games. Chuck Ely and Matt Dunnigan are the other 2. 2nd and 10, Argos from their 13. Foggy to Kevin Smelly. First time tonight he's handled the ball. He's up to the 16, but Tyrone Jones was there to make the stop, as he has been often tonight.
That's right, Bob. He played well last week, and he just seems to have kept that intensity from last week. You see him when he makes the read, reacts up, good tackle, and sometimes when you slip off, your hands slip off down around his legs, that's when, if that running back kicks his legs, he can get away from you. He just made sure he wrapped him up.
Jones has played on a sore leg much of this year, and he has said that only in the last 2 or 3 weeks has he really started to feel 100%. Third down, Argos, 6 yards to go. Harper low kick with the wind. It'll bounce past Streeter all the way back to the Blue Bomber 38, where Lee Hull is tackled immediately. So the Blue Bombers and Argos, first of back-to-back games. They play again Saturday night at the Sky Dome, and we'll have it for you on CFN. The Argos feel that they have to win both these games to have a realistic chance of finishing first ahead of the Bombers, trailing by 2 points coming into the game tonight. Winnipeg from its 37-yard line. Burgess throws, and Streeter reaching back, can't make the catch. And we have 2:51 left now until halftime. Winning the battle of defense against offense. The Argos, averaging 40 points a year, have only 3. 2:45 left in the second quarter at Winnipeg Stadium, and Robert Mims on the receiving end of the Burgess throw for 18 Winnipeg yards.
The thing that always impresses me, Bob, is how these big guys have such quick feet. They're so light on their feet that when they, in a situation where they're going to be tackled, they're able to just quickly move those feet out of the way or pick them up and pick up extra yardage.
17 yards the gain. Robert Mims to the Winnipeg 54-yard line. 2:20 remaining in the half. Burgess on 1st and 10. Drops, throws. Rick House can't make the catch at the Argo 48-yard line. Rick House, one of the key ingredients in the offensive success of the Bombers this year.
Well, that, Bob, also the fact that we're moving Burgess, just rolling him a little bit side to side. And that really seems to have helped him quite a bit, helping him with his throwing motion, helping him pick up his reads a lot quicker and getting rid of the ball.
2nd and 10 Bombers at their 54-yard line. Rained a little bit just before the game, but we haven't had any during the game. Burgess setting up a screen to Robert Mims, and he can't catch the ball at center field. The Bombers had lots of blockers out in front, but the connection Burgess to Robert Mims short-circuited.
Really, Don Wilson was the only one out there. Problem with the running backs, get awful eager when they run screens. He wants to turn around and get going down the field. A lot of times he'll get out there ahead of his blockers. They can't help him in that situation.
Actually, it looked like he kind of ran into the pack of blockers.
He would say it's the offensive lineman's fault because they're too slow to get out there.
A little slow leading the play. 3rd and 10 Bombers at their 54. Bob Cameron with 2:10 left in the half to punt. There's a flag on the play. Cameron has the punt go off the side of his foot and out of bounds at the Argo 38-yard line. Cameron again doesn't hit the ball very well. A 21-yard punt. Looks to us though like he's trying to angle it out of bounds, and it's costing him yardage. The penalty though is against the Argos, and it is going to give the Winnipeg Blue Bombers a 1st down.
Too many men. Toronto. 1st down.
Oh, that'll just drive Don Matthews right up the wall, Nick.
Well, his key words always are play smart. Don't do dumb things. And I guess you can say that about every coach wants that from his team. But that is very, very basic stuff. One reason you have team meetings is to know who's on what team. Of course, I got to clarify that, though, because sometimes when you get injuries, no one knows who's supposed to be on.
Look at the difference now. The Argos, instead of having the ball at their 37, it's Winnipeg football at the Argo 46 because one guy made a mental error. Burgess sprinting right and throwing on 1st down. It's incomplete. 1:56 the time left in the 1st half.
Well, you talk about penalties. Now, I've heard of situations where a coach has been so frustrated with the team taking penalties that he figures if you take a mental penalty, a dumb mistake, he's going to fine you.
Some teams have them automatic. Physical penalties are one thing, but
that's exactly it.
Errors like that in a game of this significance, too, are magnified. 2nd and 10, Bombers at the Argo 46. Burgess to Eric Streeter, and that's a 1st down. I knew somewhere along the line I was going to call Burgess Tom Clements because at times he does have a resemblance. Don't you agree, Nick?
Yeah. Yes, I do, Bob, but that's 2 catches now that you see Eric Streeter make where have been less than perfect in terms of ball placement, but he's on tonight, and anything that's around him, he seems to be picking it up right off the shoe top, sir.
I would assume Burgess would be flattered that I would refer to him as Clements, wouldn't you? Then again, 1st down, Burgess will throw it long. And it's nearly picked off by Van Bellingham, who moved over from his safety position. 1:46 the time left in the 1st half.
Van Bellingham played that perfectly. Once again, when you're the safety, the job description is in that one word, safety. You're back there to help out Well, as soon as he sees what direction that ball's going in, when it releases, he heads over there, and because it's a long pass, he's got a lot of time to get over there and just about have the interception.
Rookie from University of Calgary, 4th-round draft pick. Dave Van Bellingham has been a nice surprise for the Argos. 2nd and 10 Blue Bombers at the Toronto 34. Burgess for Tuttle, diving catch and a first down at the Argo 19-yard line.
At the end of the night, when you look at the statistics sheet and you say, boy, that quarterback had a great night, but you've got to remember also that receivers, when they're catching the football, can make that quarterback look awful good, and they're doing a great job for Burgess right now.
Burgess winning the battle statistically with Ricky Foggy and on the scoreboard as well, as the Bombers lead 17-3. Winnipeg displaying better ball control in the game. First down now from the Argo 19. Warren Hudson straight up the middle, and he gains about 3, carrying Quick Parker along with him. These two teams played in the East semifinal last year after 7 and 11 regular seasons. Chances are they'll be meeting in postseason play again this year. 2nd down and 7. The football at the Argo 15. Burgess wants to throw quick. It's tipped, and no, Reggie Pleasant couldn't hold on. The ball came right to his arms, but he couldn't squeeze it after it was deflected at the line of scrimmage.
Again, it appeared that he may have lost his footing as he tried to make a break to the ball there. This is kind of interesting where Chris Walby, actually trying to help out, gets in the way and may have influenced the direction or the area where that ball was going to go, because he's an awful big guy and he's a distraction in that position. He's trying to help and maybe have hindered in that case.
We'll bring Trevor Kennard into the game. 28 out of 39 on the season. 23-yard effort is up and good, and the Blue Bombers have a 17-point lead, 20-3, with 1:14 remaining in the first half. So the Argos still have some time to try and do something about the 17-point deficit they face. Foggy in the pocket, can't find anybody, moves out of there and then does find a receiver. It's Mazzotti, and he gets it out close to center field.
Good read by Ricky Foggy that time. Tyrone Jones got pushed past Foggy, who then will take off at about a 45-degree angle, buy himself some extra time. Does a very effective job of throwing that ball to Mazzotti.
That field goal by Kennard was the first score of the second quarter. Argos from their 54 with 1:04 left in the half, 1st and 10. Foggy, lots of time, throws to Clemens, away from Randolph, but Albert Williams got a hold of him and held on. Clemens picks up 5.
You're right, Bob. That really was terrific protection. And that's sometimes when you get the quarterback rolling out a couple times and then dropping back, it creates a little bit of a problem for the defensive line, because they're used to running laterally. Now they got to go start running up the field.
I think Winnipeg defense, though, content, Nick, to leave Foggy in the pocket as long as he doesn't get outside of contain. This pass low intended for Darrell Smith. And it'll be 3rd and 5, Argos at the Winnipeg 50 with 46 seconds left in the half. Ricky Foggy in the offense, it appears, will stay out there and try to get a first down and get into scoring range.
I think that's important, Bob, because they do have the win. They've got to put something on the board to get a little bit closer to the Bombers, build a little bit of confidence at this point.
20-3, Winnipeg leads. 3rd down and 5, Argos, Winnipeg 50, and they have whistled the play down now. Jake Ireland is going to go over and check with the timekeeper. First half, and the Argos on 3rd and 4, gambling at the Winnipeg 51. That's Andrew Murray, 86 in motion. Foggy's going to take off and run to the Bomber 43, and that's a first down.
When you see that particular type of set where the Argos sent everybody out of the backfield, some teams call it an empty set. There's nobody behind Ricky Foggy. The defense has got to be aware, of course, that there still is somebody back there very dangerous with the football. It's the safest play, only one guy handling it.
Clock is running, 35 seconds left in the half. Foggy from the Winnipeg 43 calls the play, drops in the pocket, puts it up deep for Jeff Boyd. Rod Hill with a coverage, and it's no good in the Winnipeg end zone. 24 seconds now left in the half. Ricky Foggy breaking all sorts of records at the University of Minnesota. Superb career there, and just now starting to show some of the form that I know the BC Lions felt he could show when they signed him.
17 touchdowns going into the game and 4 interceptions. That's tremendous. Just a tremendous ratio.
On the season, and with Toronto, 15 touchdowns and 1 interception coming into tonight. 2nd and 10, Argos, Winnipeg 43. Foggy, pressure comes, he throws long for Clemens, and there's a flag on the play. Albert Williams, Bomber linebacker, who was isolated on Clemens, having a tough time staying with him, and the official is ruling that some illegal contact was made. Either that or he was screening him.
More than likely he was screening him, Bob, and that's a type of matchup that the Argos, when they see that matchup, Foggy's got to lick his lips and say, boy, this is great.
Pass interference. Winnipeg number 72. First down.
Because as soon as he comes to the line, he sees that he's got the matchup that he wants. Williams can't really cover Clemens if you give him that much time.
Made no effort to play the ball, and that's what they called an Albert Williams 34-yard gain. Foggy into the end zone, intended, I think, for Jeff Boyd, but way over his head. 14 seconds left in the half, and the Argos will try again from the Blue Bomber 9-yard line. Don Matthews has watched his team overcome a 3-5 record. 5 straight wins, 8-5, and a shot at first place. 2nd and goal from the Winnipeg 9. Here comes the pressure. Foggy throws, and Darrell Smith diving, can't get it. And with 10 seconds left in the half, will Matthews send out the field goal team or go for the touchdown? I see Lance Chomick in group coming on.
What the Bombers are doing right now, they're kind of what they call a delay blitz, where they'll sit the safety back. They see what the quarterback's going to do. Then they bring him to try and force Foggy to throw the ball really before he's ready. But Darrell Smith just really didn't get enough separation, and there wasn't a lot of room for error. Consequently, the ball was low and away, and the pressure on Foggy had a lot to do with that.
Lance Chomick lines up for a 16-yard field goal attempt. John Conjemi, the holder. 10 seconds to go in the half. And Chomick punches it through, and so the Argos do whittle the lead a little bit. It's now 20-6 Winnipeg with 8 seconds to go in the first half. Well, and some of the Toronto players and Don, their center, told me we'll find out where we stand after tonight. Burgess will take the snap from center and kneel with the ball. 6 seconds left in the half. Holding onto the ball and enabling Winnipeg to head to the dressing room with a lead that they would have taken before the start of this game. Well, they've done it for a half, the Bomber defense has. Can they do it for a second half? We'll find out. Winnipeg will have the ball first, though, in the second half as Ken Haley returns the Chomick kickoff to the Blue Bomber 40-yard line. Winnipeg will work into the wind in the third quarter, and there's a quarterback comparison from the first half. Tom Burgess with the upper hand on Ricky Foggy, but Foggy with a half of football left to turn that around.
You see Burgess are just shy of that elusive, getting half of that elusive 300-yard passing game,
which he hasn't had all season. But he's not a man who's obsessed with numbers. John Coughlin tonight. We wish you and the Rough Riders well the rest of the way.
All right, thanks a lot.
Ken Austin of the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, who are in Calgary on Sunday. What a big game that is for those teams. Burgess center screen to Warren Hudson, and Hudson is stopped at the 45 after a gain of 5 yards. The first offensive play of the second half following the Winnipeg kickoff return.
Darryl Ford made a good play that time, and he's kind of in the mold of Willie Pless or an Eddie Lowe from Saskatchewan. Smaller Sam Backer, and they're going to that because those types of fellows give you a little bit better pass coverage because they're situated to the wide field.
Second and 5 Bombers at their 45. Burgess hands off. Robert Mims, first down to the 50, up to the 52, maybe the 53-yard line of Winnipeg. Robert Mims, who's gone over the 1,000-yard mark in rushing on the season tonight. And that is now being acknowledged here at Winnipeg Stadium.
The similarity between Mims and Reeves that they've gained most of their yardage running between the tackles rather than sweep-type plays.
I don't know if Mims wanted the ball or the offensive lineman wanted to get it for him, but he has the football.
Don't kid yourself. They take a lot of pride in getting him that 1,000 yards also. They feel they're a part of it.
Sure they do. And well, they should. The big men who do the blocking, Bauer, Molly, Benjamin, Walby, and Rhoda Hutskers, and David Black's been in there too. This is Mims again to the Argo 50 and inside of the 49 for another 8 or 9 yards.
Anytime you have that type of success on the first down running the ball, you're going to eat up a lot of yardage. The other thing that does is it also diversifies your attack. Now you're not forced into doing something you might not necessarily want to do.
The running of Robert Mims has been a big part of Winnipeg's offense this season, and it has been tonight. He's had a strong game. The Bombers second and about 2.5 from the Argo 50. The throw for Rick House, and he makes a sensational one-handed catch for a first down.
That was pretty good coverage that time by Carl Brazley. But as we mentioned earlier, you saw Tuttle, you saw Streeter, and this time you see Rick House making the very difficult catches, sustaining drives, and this is exactly what you need.
Well, when you make catches like that, I think your quarterback considers that a bonus. First and 10 Bombers, Argo 42. Not that he won't take it, because he will. Streeter on the receiving end of this throw, and that's another 8-yard gain to the Argo 34, and this is what Burgess has been doing again, Nick, in recent weeks, is just picking away, taking what's there. It gets, you know, it sounds, I guess, a little monotonous talking about it, but it's the formula the Bomber offense has used successfully in recent weeks.
Well, they've been consistent, and the other thing is they'd like to have more big play capability, but I'm sure Mike Riley's happy with this.
Second down, and again about 2.5 yards to go. The handoff to Robert Mims, who sheds one tackle, gets inside the 35 and close to the 34. Keith Browner moved across, and Chris Gaines, who hurt the little finger on his left hand in the first half, made the stop, and they're a good 2 yards away from the first down.
Well, anytime you're going to try and run the ball or give it to the second back coming through the line, that offensive line really has to sustain the blocks a little bit longer. And if they don't, and that defense gets penetration, that the result is obvious what happened there.
Well, the Bombers will not try a field goal now. Keep in mind that they're going into the wind in the third quarter. It would be about a 42-yard field goal attempt by Trevor Kennard, and the way the wind is blowing, that is a very difficult kick, so Cameron will punt. His average taking a beating tonight, but he has done his kicking into the wind. And here's another one that he angles beautifully, but it does go into the end zone. He tried to kick it out of bounds deep in Toronto territory. It rolls into the end zone. Mike Clemens will kneel and concede a single point. And so the Blue Bombers add one to their lead, and it's now, he hates to be called Bob. It's Robert Mims. He's had a big night and a big season, his first season with the Blue Bombers. Yes, it is a little cold up here. Ricky Foggy's had a cool night, and it's getting cooler as Albert Williams was all over him.
Well, the Blue Bombers have pretty well to a T played the type of defense they said they had to play, is just keep him contained, harass him to the point where he really doesn't have an opportunity to make the perfect read or the perfect throw.
The applause you're hearing now is for the crowd at Winnipeg Stadium. 30,484, the second consecutive 30,000 plus crowd they've had. Capacity just under 33. Second and 10 Argos from their 35. Foggy, and he's sacked by Quincy Williams.
Well, you know, the Blue Bombers are certainly happy to have Quincy Williams back. He replaces Jerome Reinhardt, and he was back after 3 games. What he does is he gives them that extra added little speed that they need. He's almost like a big linebacker, and once again, team speed is creating problems for Ricky Foggy.
Third sack of the night, as you see, for the Blue Bombers. And the Argos will be forced to punt with the wind. Glenn Harper doing it if he does punt. We'll watch him get it away from the end zone. High kick. Lee Hull at the Bomber 47. Straight up field. And he gets close to center field. 10.5 minutes left, third quarter. You're watching Molson Canadian. Winnipeg 21, Toronto 6. A 15-point lead. The way the Argos have played offense in the last 6 weeks seems like nothing. But the way the Bombers play defense, it's fairly substantial as Robert Mims carries on first down from the Argo 48 into their 44, maybe the 43. Quick Parker, one of the Toronto players, getting up off the pile. Large offensive line that the Bombers have, averaging about 280 pounds. That's Chris Walby's 315 thrown in there. That's about what he is, isn't it, Nick?
Give or take 10.
Second down, Blue Bombers from the 44, 6 yards to go. Burgess throws, Tuttle catches. Argo 28, first down, Winnipeg.
Terry Tuttle had a big week last week, and once again you see that movement of Tom Burgess just rolling out side to side. It's not even really a rollout, it's more like a sprint out where he's just going to put himself in a better position to get the ball to the sideline. He doesn't have a great arm, but rolling that way shortens the distance to the sideline, makes that throw easier.
Best we've seen Burgess throw on the run this season. He has Winnipeg first and 10 at the Argo 28-yard line. Handoff to Robert Mims, that little counter play that they love to run. He's to the 25 and close to the 24 for 3 or 4 more yards. Don Moen playing his 150th consecutive game in on the tackle.
Keith Brown has really played a strong football game tonight. You see him take on Bob Molly, and that's all he has to do. Just make sure that the running back turns up inside of me, and I got to get my teammates to help me out. That's the meaning of teamwork.
Browner played arena football for the Pittsburgh Gladiators this year before the Argos brought him in. Second down and 7, Blue Bombers at the 25 of Toronto. Burgess jumps it to Mims in the middle, and he's close to the 20. Browner made the stop. He'll be a yard and a half, maybe 2 short of the first down.
Keith Browner's playing a good football game. You saw him drop off his rush that time, turn around and make the play. Now this is a guy at 6'6", 270 pounds. He's moving like a linebacker out there.
He is a tremendous athlete, Browner. The Bombers have decided to try the field goal. Mike Riley asking how far is it? It's 2 yards from a first down. So Riley, as he usually does, plays the percentages. And we'll let Trevor Kennard attempt to make it a 3-for-3 night. Bob Cameron, the holder. 28-yard kick into a strong wind. Cameron puts it down. Kennard has it up and throw. And it's now 24-6 for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. In his long career, and we talked about the ups and downs. August the 2nd against the Edmonton Eskimos. 2 seconds left in the game. And Kennard put a 37-yarder through the uprights. And then in Calgary a little bit later, September 14th, he missed on a field goal try that would have given the Bombers a victory. The life of a place kicker. Darrell Smith with the kickoff return, cut down by Haley at the Argo 40-yard line. Mike Riley, the head coach of the Bombers, believes that the Toronto hurry-up offense made his Winnipeg defense better early this season.
Well, when it first came up and they were going all no huddle to start with, of course it concerned us very much. So what we did is we altered our defensive call so that we could do it more easily and not have to huddle ourselves. And what we really found was our players had to learn more and concentrate more on these one-word calls, and then they were able to then stay at the line of scrimmage and wait for the offense. And since Toronto's not the only team that does that in the league, I think it's helped us week in and week out be ready for no-huddle teams.
Bomber defense hasn't had a lot of trouble tonight with the hurry-up Argo offense. And again, that team speed, we saw it again. Nick Pastaya with Tyrone Jones very quickly pouncing line. Back up John Coughlin, hurt earlier in the quarter. So Blaine Schmidt will play at right guard. And the Argos will hope that the 5 offensive linemen they have left can stay on their feet. 2nd and 6. Ricky Foggy and company from the 44. Foggy kept in the pocket now. He tries to run wide and does, and will get a first down to the 50 center field and to the Blue Bomber 50.5-yard line. Ricky Foggy showing the tremendous running ability that he possesses.
Not only that, and Mike Clemens has been getting the ball a lot this year, but the other thing is that he's a competitor, and he helps Ricky Foggy pick up some extra yardage by getting a block in there. He is a true player, this guy.
Well, we talk about his combined yardage, 2,374 coming into this game, the CFL record for yards in a season on rushes, receptions, and kick returns. 2,896. Rufus Crawford with Hamilton in 84. Clemens with a good shot at that, although he's been shut down well tonight. From the 51, the handoff goes to Kevin Smelly, and he gets a yard, maybe 2, and that'll be it. Quiet night for a man who's had a very noisy season, productive season. Darrell Smith, just 1 catch for 3 yards. Winnipeg's leading receiver, Rick House, has caught 3 for 18. But you knew the Argos would be in trouble, Nick, if in the 3rd quarter Darrell Smith had 1 catch for 3 yards.
He's had a tremendous year, and a lot of his catches you would have to call highlight catches. He just had a tremendous year.
16 touchdowns for Smith. 2nd and 9, Argos at the Bomber 50. Here comes the blitz, and Foggy throws it up, and Clemens comes back to catch it at the 22-yard line. Paul Randolph, the linebacker with Clemens, of course, didn't know where the ball was, and Foggy does a terrific job of getting it off under extreme pressure.
Well, that's right. All that's called is just poise, knowing where your matchup is. Now, man-to-man down the field means that the defender has to look at the receiver. He doesn't see where the ball is. He only can see where the ball is in a zone defense. Clemens makes a heck of an adjustment. Big play.
29 yards for the Argos to the Bomber 21. 5.5 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Winnipeg leading by 18. Foggy fires it to Kevin Smelly, and he drops it at the Winnipeg 16-yard line. Foggy disturbed by that.
A lot of times you'll see the receiver, running back or receiver, turning, getting ready to run before he's got quite the handle on the ball. And very often you see that happen. He drop it, and it's a drive killer.
Foggy really gunned it in there in close range, and I'm not sure Smelly was quite ready for it.
Either that on a cold night, and your hands get a little bit numb. It's hard to get the feel of the ball, too.
Well, it was 5 Celsius at game time. It has to be down a degree or 2 by now. 2nd and 10, Argos at the Bomber 21. Foggy gets it away to Mazzotti, complete. He breaks the tackle, but is stopped at the 15, 4 yards away from a first down.
Once again, Ricky Foggy is just standing in there doing an excellent job of absorbing some punishment, and you don't like to see a quarterback do that, but he has to do that to make things happen. It took a long time for Mazzotti to clear across the middle to break free. Ricky Foggy showing, again, maturity and poise, hung in there, waited till he saw Mazzotti and made the throw.
Ken Haley's shaken up on that last play. Foggy is a good-sized man. He's 6'2", close to 190. Very strong as Haley tries to walk off a shot on his hip. Lance Chomick and the field goal team out for the Argos. This will be a 22-yard try with Conjemi holding. And Chomick makes it good, and so it's now 24-9. The Bomber 30-yard line. A fumble by the Bombers. Let's see who has the ball. It looked like Burgess was able to get back on it.
Well, it's the 2nd time tonight that this has happened. And again, it's up to the quarterback to make sure that the running back has the ball. I don't think Mims really gave Burgess much of a pocket that time. He looks like he likes to take the ball in his hands rather than putting one arm over top of the other. That might create problems in a cold, rainy type of night.
Bombers get away with one there. Boy, the Argos need something like that to go in their favor, Nick, as they trail 24-9. Winnipeg fortunate to get that back. 2nd and 15 from their 30. Burgess with a screen. Warren Hudson has some blockers. Across the 45, and that'll give Winnipeg a first down.
Warren Hudson does an excellent job here of faking Don Moen. In other words, he's coming out like he's going to block Don Moen. At the last moment, he just lets Moen slip by him, turns around, gets the ball, and heads upfield.
Warren Hudson enjoying a good night against his former team. 19 first downs now for Winnipeg from their 46. Burgess gets away from Browner and throws complete to Streeter. He caught it at the Argo 53, but his momentum brought him back to center field, and he'll come up a yard short of the first down.
Well, he was trying to wheel back, turn around, and hopefully pick up some blocking and head down the field. But again, he had that first down and gave it up.
Kai Jones and Greg Battle come in to provide blocking strength. Matt Pierce as well on 2nd and short for the Blue Bombers. 2nd and a yard at center field. It doesn't look like Burgess will throw it, and he doesn't get the first down either, I don't think. He had to get to the Argo 54, but very little give from the Toronto defensive line, and I think they held him short.
The Argos defensive line did an excellent job that time. Basically, what they did is they beat the Blue Bombers offensive line to the punch. As soon as they saw that ball move, they shot across the line. Every one of them took a gap, took out the legs of the offense.
While turnovers and poor field position set up Winnipeg's first 10 points, but Toronto's defense has not had a bad night. 3rd down and less than a yard. The Bombers will go for it. Burgess hands off left side, and they got the first down, I think. Warren Hudson carrying, but not by a lot.
That was Robert Mims, I believe, and he really did it. At first, you saw him hesitate and shift his shoulders side to side. And in that situation, you really can't do much in the way of a finesse move.
And they did just get the first down. 1:28 left, 3rd quarter, 24-9. The Blue Bombers leading the Argos. Winnipeg working into a stiff wind here in the 3rd quarter, and we'll soon have it with them in the 4th. Bombers have outscored the Argos 4-3 in this quarter as Tom Burgess sprints left with pressure. Gets it away and completes it to Hull, and they rule that he made the catch at the Argo 38-yard line. Terrific job by Burgess.
It was a good job by him. Now, Lee Hull was trying to find some place to get open. He tried to run deep. You saw that wasn't going to work because Tom Burgess can't get his body to stop to turn his body to throw it that far down the field. So realizing that, he came back to the quarterback and made the play.
1st and 10, Bombers, Argo 38-yard line. Counter play of Mims, and he's grabbed in the backfield and will lose a yard. James Parker, what an outstanding career he's had.
He has, Bob, and now his role with this team has changed. He's the short field end, he's not the rush end, but you see him take that hard inside charge, fight off the block with his one arm, making the play with his other. He's one of those players, I believe, that has changed certain aspects of the Canadian football game. When he came into this league, they tried to make him a linebacker. When they moved him to rush end, he was a star.
They call him quick. He used his strength to make that play. 2nd and 11, Burgess. And he's sacked back at the 49-yard line. Again, James Parker leading the way. Rodney Harding also in on the sack.
I don't know how excited Rodney Harding was at the start of the year to be moved into what they call the over tackle. But you see here, it's really not much in the way of finesse. He bulls Nick Benjamin back, and at that right moment, he'll turn Benjamin's shoulders to free himself and make the sack.
5th sack of the year for Rodney Harding, a 6-year veteran. East All-Star, 86, 87, 88. Having a superb year, according to Coach Don Matthews. 3rd down and 19, Blue Bombers at the Argo 43. Cameron just gets it away. Clemens at the 14 for Toronto. Flags are down as Clemens is hauled down by Ward at the 18-yard line. I think the penalties will go against Toronto for an illegal block.
Well, Carl Braisley and Scott Reddle were pushing and shoving and pointing fingers in each other's faces, so that's pretty obvious, I think, where that infraction occurred. Carl Braisley's saying, I got my head across the front of his numbers. It's not a clip.
Jake Ireland and his crew don't agree.
Illegal block. Toronto number 7. First down.
You know, I think the only way that Bob Cameron got this punt off, he saw what trouble he was in, sidestepped it just enough to clear the blocker coming in. That was Rivers. And a heads-up play. He's a veteran punter, and he didn't panic. He saw what the situation was. And I thought at first he might have slowed down his motion or at least cut it off to get the ball underneath the blocker.
Well, the time has expired on the clock here in the third quarter, and the players had headed for the other end of the field to start the fourth quarter. But you can't have a quarter end on a penalty, so they'll all have to work a little harder than they had wanted to and come back.
Yeah, the linemen are complaining about that right now. They don't like that.
So if we don't have a penalty, this play will end the third quarter, and it'll end Toronto's possession of the football with the wind, and they've only managed 3 points in this third quarter with the breeze behind them. From the 8. Foggy quarterback draw of sorts around the corner across the 15 to about the 16-yard line for an 8-yard gain. The third quarter ends at Winnipeg Stadium with the Blue Bombers up by 5 games pretty well tonight, but the offense has not. 57-point average in the last 5, and tonight they just have 9 against the Blue Bombers. The fourth quarter begins with Toronto second down and a couple from their 16-yard line. Foggy fakes and then tosses it back to Mike Clemens. He's up to the 20, and Bovell rides him down very hard at the 23-yard line. The rookie safety of the Blue Bombers makes Clemens pay for that first down.
Well, Dave Bovell is a good acquisition for the Blue Bombers, and what he does is he gives them that type of safety play that they had with Benny Thompson. Very physical, intimidating force in the middle. He'll only get better being a rookie. Getting to play a lot helps him.
He likes to hit. 12 first downs now for Toronto. From their 23, their first and 10. Foggy takes a pass, takes off and runs, but is hauled down by the Blue Bombers after a short gain. Albert Williams made the stop. Foggy will get 3 or 4.
Well, it seems like Ricky Foggy is really trying to take a lot more of the production on his own shoulders. And sometimes that's not a bad thing, and sometimes, though, when you're trying to feel like you have to do it all yourself, it really doesn't help. Now, granted, they've had miserable field position most of the night, and I know Don Matthews, I'm sure, will bring that up.
Second down and 7, Argos from their 27-yard line. Foggy throws. Darrell Smith, terrific catch at the 45 up to the 47 of the Blue Bombers. A big Argo first down. What a grab by Smith.
It was very similar to the play they ran earlier where you saw Mazzotti make a nice catch. And they run 3 receivers into the short field. The 2 outside guys clear out. Smith comes underneath, and the defender is always in a chase position. And you saw Darrell Smith is a good-sized guy. He can fight off that defender where he's trying to distract him from catching the ball.
20-yard gain, only the second catch of the night for Smith. Foggy throws to the sideline. This one intended for Jeff Boyd, but it was overthrown by quite a bit.
You see how Ricky Foggy, when he rolls to that one side, and as he's rolling, you see him step up and into his throw. And sometimes it gets a little bit too much on the ball and has a tendency to take off on him.
Well, the Argos have rushed for 131 and passed for 121 out of their 252 yards of total offense tonight. And this is a team that normally passes a lot more in a game than it runs. But the Bombers have played a very strong, disciplined defensive game. and have taken many things away from Toronto that they like to do. 2nd and 10. Foggy forced up in the pocket. Throws for Clemens, but the pressure was too much. Paul Randolph this time in Ricky Foggy's face.
Once again, sending 4 or 5 people, keeping Foggy in the pocket. Now the idea is get him to get rid of the ball as quickly as you can, because he may be probably their most dangerous offensive threat. If you can get him to get rid of the ball, then you'll deal with somebody else handling the ball, and maybe it's not as bad. It's a worst case scenario, I guess.
Argos were just about in the same spot in the field in the first quarter when Harper didn't punt. A direct snap to Nastasiuk, and he ran for 29 yards, but Harper is kicking this time. And not a very good one into the wind. The Bombers are up to field it across their 50 up to their 52-yard line. A 17-yard kick. Molson in the Canadian 52-yard line. And some of the fans at the stadium expressed themselves in unusual ways. As Burgess runs away from trouble and is happy to get rid of the ball and save a big loss.
It was excellent coverage that time by Gerald Ford on Robert Mims. And as we mentioned earlier, he's not a real big guy as far as linebackers go. He's almost like a big defensive back. But he gives them that advantage of probably good pass coverage and good quickness. And young guys, when they come into the pro ranks, the thing that suffers with them usually, or the thing they have the hardest time with, is working on their pass coverage.
2nd and 10, Blue Bombers at their 52. Passing situation, although they do like to run Mims on the draw sometimes in this position, but they won't. Burgess over the middle for House, and he is clobbered by Dave Van Bellingham, and I think he saw him coming at the last minute and was able to avoid the brunt of that hit.
Well, you would hope so. He's 5'10" going into the game. He might be 5'5" leaving, because he really got a necktie there.
Well, Rick House, 33 years of age, 12 years. He knows when to hold him and when to fold him. And that was a that was a time to fold him. Bob Cameron's first punt of the night with the win. See what he does with it. 3rd and 10 at the Bomber 52. Funny looking snap. You could call it a bad snap. Cameron again lucky to get the kick off. Fans are booing. They thought there should have been a contacting the kicker call. And Scott Reddle does an outstanding job of bringing down Michael Pinball Clemens. 10:57 left now in the 4th quarter. They like the score. 10-0 Winnipeg before the game was 4 minutes old. It's been relatively even since then, but a 15-point Blue Bomber lead. 10:49 the time left in the 4th quarter. Argo is 1st and 10 at their 21-yard line after a 38-yard Bob Cameron punt and a -4 return by Clemens. Foggy throws complete to Mike Clemens. Albert Williams grabs him. Clemens still spinning and fighting and gets another yard out of it, maybe for a gain of about 6.
Tyrone Jones, I guess, has been a thorn in Ricky Foggy's side all night. His patented spin move back to the inside and make sure that Ricky Foggy knows, I'm always here. Whether you throw, whether you run, I'm always around you. Harassment.
29 years of age, Ty Jones. 8th year in the CFL. Cal Murphy, the Blue Bomber general manager, partly trying to stay warm there, but clearly liking what he's seeing.
Well, I don't know. He looked, to me, if you saw his face, it looked like they're losing.
I think he's just shivering. 2nd and 4, Foggy. Statue of Liberty. Handoff to Mike Clemens, and he got very close to a 1st down. Matter of fact, I think he did get it.
Well, they definitely had some success with this play tonight. But, you know, with this weather conditions, and maybe it's not a secret, is that the efficiency of the offenses certainly are impaired. Where defense, I don't think it bothers you that much, especially in this situation where you know you've got the team down. They got to move against the wind.
Winnipeg Blue Bombers are wearing a 60th anniversary patch on their jerseys. There you see it. And there's a better look at it. Cal Murphy, the Blue Bomber general manager. Argos were called for objectionable conduct after that last play, which got them a 1st down. but it moves back to their 23-yard line, a 10-yard walk-off, where they'll be 1st and 10. Foggy nearly collided with Clemens, gets the pass away, and Darrell Smith can't make the catch as Darrell Sampson got there the same time the ball did.
The intensity certainly hasn't let up, and once again, Tyrone Jones around Ricky Foggy. And rushers love this situation where they know the other team has to pass. Those offensive linemen are backing up. Then you see at the other end of the play that Darrell Smith was really well bracketed by Paul Randolph underneath and Darrell Sampson over top, and they really made a sandwich there.
Outstanding play by Sampson, close to being interference. 2nd and 10. Argos. Foggy down the middle. Darrell Smith, and he can't hang on. Looked like a catchable ball up at the 40, but Smith couldn't bring it home.
Well, it's catchable, I guess, if there's not a guy hanging over your shoulder like that. And once again, the ball seems to get up a little bit high. Ricky Foggy's having a bit of a problem keeping the ball down where the guys can get to it. Darrell Sampson just getting in there enough to distract the receiver.
3rd down and 10. Argos, the ball at their 23-yard line. Glenn Harper set to punt. Low snap. No problem for Harper, though. Good kick into the wind. Lee Hull at center field. The Bomber 54 flags down. It'll be no yards against the Argos as Hull gets it back to the 47 of Toronto. We have 8:27 left at Stadium tonight, and here's the wind factor. The Argos 6 with, 3 against. Bombers have taken much better advantage. They have it in this 4th quarter. 8 minutes, 20 seconds to go. And with the no yards penalty on the punt, have 1st down at the Argo 41. Burgess hit screener, grabbed right away. Browner again over to make the tackle. Bob Irving with Nick Pastaya at Winnipeg Stadium, where the Blue Bombers lead the Toronto Argos 24-9. Now less than 8 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Winnipeg 9-4, Toronto 8-5 entering this game. As these two clubs fight for 1st in the East, and they'll go at it again next Saturday at the Sky Dome. 2nd and 9, Blue Bombers, Argo 40. Draw play, Robert Mims, who's gone over 1,000 yards on the season tonight, and he adds a couple more and gets the ball into the middle of the field for field goal kicker Trevor Kennard.
It was impressive how he moved laterally that way, almost as quickly as he can move straight ahead, just to try to clear himself of the pile.
Robert Mims has certainly won the battle in terms of total yards, but Clemens has only carried 6 times, has a better than 5-yard average. Kennard has a perfect night going. This will be his longest try from the 45-yard line. Bob Cameron puts it down. There are flags on the play. Kennard is wide left with it, and it goes through for a single point. But there are flags. Bombers are all waving that it's against the Argos. Doesn't mean anything, but they're right. So Kennard will get another shot at it. This will leave them with a 3rd and 2.
Offside. Shot on number 38. 3rd down repeated.
That's the 11th penalty of the game, Nick, against the Argos, and the Bombers have only taken 3. And boy, Don Matthews is livid with that.
That's right. There's some benchmark statistics. It's, again, field position, penalties, sacks, things of that nature. And Winnipeg's done a good job tonight of not getting penalties.
So Kennard gets another crack at it. 5 yards closer this time. Cameron puts it down from the 39. It's partially blocked. And the Argos again wind up conceding the single. And that makes it 25-9 Winnipeg, 6:44 to go. Got into it a little bit with Rodney Harding of the Argos, which wouldn't surprise anybody who knows these two teams like Nick Pastaya does.
Well, they've faced each other all night, and the great thing is now they get to go at each other again next week. And boy, they're sure going to have a bit of an axe to grind all week in practice as you watch the film and get yourself very mentally ready to play.
The thing is, we don't see half of what goes on along that line, do we?
More than half.
More than half. Okay. Ricky Foggy's gone all the way. Quarterback from the 45 takes a handoff to Clemens, throws, and completes to Murray. First catch of the night for Andrew Murray at the Bomber 48-yard line. 6.5 minutes left. The Argos are down by 16, 25-9.
Andrew Murray, sort of the other slot back, because everybody's concentrated on Darryl Smith, but he's also got excellent size. 6'3", 200 pounds, makes a good target.
Time a major factor, so Foggy attempts to move things along. Back to throw, rifles it, but it's low and intended for Jeff Boyd. Good coverage by Rod Hill. The Bombers have been without one of their inspirational players on defense for a number of weeks now. James West broke his right arm. It's healing well. He expects to be ready by playoff time. And that's Chris Munford, safety of the Argos, who broke his ankle in the first half of this game. 2nd and 10. Foggy in the pocket, throws. Murray can't hang on. He was going to get hit, but it was a catchable pass. Ken Haley on the coverage.
Well, certainly was, and Ken Haley does an excellent job of a bit of an intimidation factor, that as that receiver turns to you, you put that helmet right underneath his chin. Real form tackling, and especially if you're a smaller man, and I don't harp on that, and Ken knows I don't mean anything by it, but when you're a smaller guy, it's very important to have real good technique. Bigger guys can get away with poor technique.
Fairly busy night for Harper, and he'll kick into the wind again. Lee Hull at the Blue Bomber 24, fumbles it. There's flags down though, and if it's no yards against the Argos, the fumble will be eliminated, and the Bombers will hang on to the ball. 5:25 left, fourth quarter, 27-yard punt.
Shot on number 54. First down.
That will happen. The ball hangs up. Those defenders are down. They're too quick. You get a chance to get a no-yards penalty.
We invite you to join us Thanksgiving Monday. We'll be at Ivor Wynn Stadium, the Edmonton Eskimos and the Hamilton Ticats. 1:30 Eastern time. Hamilton in a battle with Ottawa for the third and final playoff spot in the East. Eskimos shooting for first in the West. The Bombers from their 38. This is Robert Mims carrying across the 40 to the 42. He adds 4 yards to a good night. That has put him over 1,000 yards on the season, and the clock now runs down under 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. 102 yards for Robert Mims this evening.
You know, he's more effective when he runs out of the eye, because out of the eye formation, he has to set deeper, gives it more time for his blocking to develop. He doesn't rush the play as much.
Second down, Blue Bombers, about 6.5 to go from their 42. Burgess to Streeter, complete at center field. That's a Winnipeg first down with 4 minutes 25 seconds to go. Kind of the touchdown specialist of the Bombers. Streeter with only 31 catches coming into the game, 8 of them for touchdown.
Well, that is, again, a terrific ratio. And all the receivers tonight for the Blue Bombers have done a good job under less than ideal conditions of catching the football and sustaining drives.
First and 10, Bombers at their 53-yard line. And up, Robert Mims across center field to the Argo 52. Chalk up 5 more yards for him. You talk about the elements, you know, and we discussed this, you and I, before the game. You wonder if a team that plays half its games in a dome, as the Argos do, can deal with the cold and the wind, as well as a team that plays outside as often as Winnipeg does. Is that a factor tonight, in your opinion?
Well, it certainly is. I think it's fairly obvious that if you're practicing every day in this kind of weather, you have a tendency, you don't get used to it, but you just ignore it. You don't consider it as a factor.
Second and 5, Blue Bombers, Argo 52. Burgess will take off and get the first down to the Toronto 46-yard line. 3:11 left now in the fourth quarter.
And the other thing, Bob, about the weather is that if you worry about it, it's something else that affects you mentally, and you can't do that.
And the clock is stopped with 3:03 to go. The Blue separated by 3 minutes and 3 seconds from their third win of the season over the Toronto Argos in 3 meetings. I don't know, Nick, I'm speechless. How about you?
He's got the beat, not bad. He's working on it a little bit. He wasn't so good at the start, but he's picked it up pretty good at the end there.
You thought he did, eh?
Well,
well, he may be warmer than some of the others at the stadium. It was 5 degrees Celsius at game time. Not any more than that right now. Bombers first and 10, Argo 46. Burgess gets away from Harding and then throws deep for Streeter, knocked down by Ed Berry. At the Argo 5-yard line, but it gets the clock down to 2 minutes 39 seconds left.
well, we asked Mike Riley about who he figured the best players on the Argos were. He said Harding, Hallman, and their 2 corners, Pleasant and Berry. And you saw 2 of them figure prominently on that play.
Well, the Bombers will win their 3rd game in a row and snap Toronto's 5-game win streak if this score holds. Winnipeg has not lost 2 in a row all season. That's really an impressive record. 2nd and 10 now from the Argo 46-yard line. And there's Perry Tuttle catching the ball at the 25. Runs back a little bit to the 27. But it's another Blue Bomber first down, and Tuttle's had a good night.
Perry Tuttle has had a very good night picking up where he was last week. The other thing was, though, Warren Hudson was also wide open that time, so Tom Burgess really had a couple of targets there for gains.
Burgess has really put together some time-consuming drives tonight. Certainly ball control, a big edge to Winnipeg. From the 29, the handoff to Robert Mims, and he has 4, 5 more. 4 drags him back as he crosses the 25-yard line. After tonight's game, we'll select and talk to our Molson MVP. It'll be a Blue Bomber.
You see the look on Danny McManus's face there from who played at Florida State. That's pretty funny.
Welcome to Winnipeg, Dan.
And it don't get any better than this.
Burgess, big pressure. The ball comes loose, and the Argos are fighting for it. Who has it? Toronto at the Argo 36-yard line. The ball knocked out of quarterback Tom Burgess's hand. 1:44 left in the 4th quarter. Might be a little too late for the Argos.
Well, it might be, Bob, but again, I'm impressed with the fact that they just haven't given up. They've kept playing hard. Don Moen combining with Keith Browner, who I think has played an excellent football game tonight. And if we had to pick an Argos MVP, my choice would be Keith Browner. He's played terrific football, and he's a real find for that team.
2nd-round draft pick in the NFL back in '84. Browner tells you something about his athletic ability. Ricky Foggy now will attempt to make something happen in these dying seconds. He runs for about 8 yards. Cool night at Winnipeg Stadium. We asked Don Matthews about playing in poor weather.
Well, the disappointment in a win game is the fact that sometimes it's only a half that you get to play in, because the other half you're defending so much because of the field position. And I think that when a game is, all the scoring is done on one end of the football field, those people at that end have the best seats. But it makes it a tougher football game to be productive for the full 60 minutes.
Paul Nastasia carrying on 2nd down for the Argos, and they get a first down up at their 48-yard line. 1:22 to go. 25-9, Winnipeg leading. Foggy straight back to pass. Looks for Mike Clemens, and Greg Battle is there to knock it away at the Blue Bomber 40-yard line. Good coverage by Greg Battle, who may be the Bombers' best defensive player. It may be Tyrone Jones. I'm talking about on the season now.
Well,
Those two are the leading candidates, Nick.
Sorry, Bob. I think Greg Battle is probably their best cover linebacker. That's his forte. And as a group, they've done an excellent job of covering a guy like Pinball Clemens downfield. The one-on-one situation, they've done a good job.
Foggy back to pass. And he looks to Clemens again on the same play. And again, Battle had good coverage. The Argos just haven't been able to make the things work for them that have worked so famously in the last 5 games. James Murphy, who will be back in the Bomber lineup probably in 2 weeks. Badly sprained ankle has kept him out. The player with the red hood on was Ken Winey. He's also injured. 1:06 left in the 4th quarter. 3rd and 10. Argos go for it at their 47. Foggy sprints and throws, and Jeff Boyd can't make the catch inbounds. Rod Hill the coverage, and Boyd shows the frustration that this night has brought to the Argos.
Jeff Boyd really is a competitor, and he may not have the kind of speed that he had earlier in his career, but one thing that Jeff Boyd does so well, he still runs some particular routes extremely well.
Bombers got off to a quick start, scoring on the 3rd play of the game. Robert Mims going in for a touchdown, and then a Kennard field goal, and Winnipeg was up 10-0 in a hurry. Lance Chomick with a field goal for the Argos got them on the board. Warren Hudson, though, answered back, and the Bombers were up by 14 after the 1st quarter. Kennard with another field goal made it 20-3 for Winnipeg. Chomick cut it to 20-6, and that's the way it was at halftime. And then Kennard following a Cameron single. Chomick again for the Argos. Field goals, all that Toronto has been able to manage tonight. And